afternoon, everyone. So, sometimes why it's so difficult to be able to focus when we meditate, and sometimes outside meditations, some of the practice is also important because when we develop that habit, actually those qualities is help us in our meditation, because it's not only when sitting on a meditation cushion. And before we sit on the meditation cushion, and that is quite important, how we live our life, and our attitude is important. So the Buddhists again and again mention this Noble Four Path. So this Noble Four Path, they divide into threefold of practice. That is a sila, morality, samadhi, is a stillness, and panya, wisdom. So now today I want to focus on the samadhi group. The samadhi group is mixed up of the right effort, stillness, and then they translate as right concentration. Concentration is not, actually it's more like stillness, and right mindfulness. So an effort, these three is a group. These three has to come together. So that's why if you just, the right effort, today I would like to focus on the right effort, because many people confuse, right effort. You ask me to put forth effort, you have to put forth effort, and then you ask us not doing anything. So I'm confused, many people say that. Actually, when we say right effort, actually the effort into restraining our mind. Because sometimes we don't know how to restrain our mind. We don't know how to stop the mind, from, especially when the Buddhists mention about the right effort, actually it's always referred to the four right effort. So when unwholesome thoughts arises, not to allow unwholesome thoughts to arise. And if the unwholesome thoughts has arises, and then we try to stop it. And the third one, we try to replace the unwholesome thoughts with wholesome thoughts. And then we try to maintain that. Because if we we are unable to restrain this wholesome thoughts, sometimes just a little thoughts just pops up. And it's just like the Buddhists mentioned in one of the suttas, this little thoughts, pops up, especially is something that is unskillful and unwholesome, and or negative thoughts. And actually it's like those flies' eggs, and what is hatched is a spread, isn't it? The thoughts is like that, one little thoughts. If we are not mindful, we react to the thoughts, and we feed your thoughts, and it started to spread, isn't it? Little, and then you latch on one thought to another. You start to write a book, and that is to restrain that, because especially with negative thoughts, actually it's very draining, use up lots of energy. So, and when sitting meditation, sometimes people can't sustain because you don't have enough energy. So that little thoughts, that especially unwholesome thoughts, that leads to negative emotion, and they use up lots of energy, is very draining. So that's like in daily life, because normally I encourage people to that, to develop that habit, in our daily life, to practice present moment awareness, and more aware of any little thoughts arises, and aware that this is unwholesome, to restrain, our negative or unwholesome thoughts, so that we don't feed those thoughts, and then we try to bring up positive or wholesome thoughts. And one of the practice that I find it very useful, I used to do it in every morning breakfast, Sometimes I deliberately bring up the thoughts of loving kindness. When I eat my food, I share, that I think of all the beings contribute to the food. And it is to make it a habit of thinking that what I can give, today, what can I help, rather than thinking what I can, I can take, or I can get something out of it, And this is the Buddha said you develop there's a wholesome habitual mental pattern. Because sometimes people, you use it, isn't it? Because when the Buddha said when you develop into a certain habit, it's like a default setting. Even those we know that those unwholesome thoughts is no good, but you can't help yourself. Sometimes you even looking for it. Sometimes we think that the thoughts come to look for us. Actually, we go out to look for it. Because when we are, especially when we feel bored, and we look for something, and then especially not to develop into getting angry to get the energy. Some people that get into the habit of being angry to get the energy, because when they feel bored, when they're angry, they feel alive, But the kind of energy come from anger, especially, some people keep telling me that I know that being angry is no good, but I can't help myself. Like each time I want to get angry, because you feel when you get angry, you feel alive. You don't feel bored, And because when it becomes a habit, and it's like an addiction, you can't help it, That's why not to develop that. That's why when we do this, actually we develop into we call it like a good habit that leads us to peace and calm. So when we maintain that, we bring this, we contemplate and reflect on our virtue, our goodness, the good things that we have done. So when we reflect on that, it gives us lots of happiness. Like you have time, in morning, you just spend a little bit of time reflecting on that, all the goodness, all the good things you have done, and to arouse the energy. And this kind of energy, the happiness that you feel good about yourself, that kind of energy is different, isn't it? You have lots of joy, and this kind of happiness, this kind of a joy, it actually equivalent to energy. You feel bright, that kind of energy, like then you feel bright, and that's helped you, and then you develop the habit that then you become more aware, like in a daily life. Sometimes if you whenever you pick up that unwholesome thoughts, then you quickly, sometimes you can do it a little. Yesterday I did mention some of the practices actually is useful, because sometimes you cannot just sit and meditate when you're outside, isn't it, while you're working. Sometimes whenever you're aware that this little thoughts that is being unwholesome arises, and you can do the breathing, you can just sit it, you're just breathing in these unwholesome thoughts, breathing out peace, make peace with that, so that you bring your mind, take your mind away from following the unwholesome thoughts. You can do it anyway, with just a breathing, breathing in, those unwholesome emotions, unwholesome thoughts, breathing out peace. You can do that, and that to stop the mind, from going further. We said nip it on the bud. When it's small, it's easy. When you feed your these unwholesome thoughts, and it's developed and become really, you started to get emotionally upset, and that is a bit difficult to control. That's why it's important that in daily life you practice that, you're more aware. And actually it's helped you, and it's helped you to strengthen your mindfulness, to develop your mindfulness. You become more aware. Sometimes, isn't it, when our mindfulness is strong, the moment that unwholesome thoughts arise, it subsides very quickly, isn't it? It's just like your mindfulness is sharp enough, you just cut it up immediately. When our mindfulness is not strong enough, it's just like a blunt knife, You try to chop, and it's still dangling, not quite there. And then it's, unwholesome, you still go in, that kind of, because your mindfulness is not sharp enough. That's why it's important in daily life. That's why sometimes we like Ajahn used to say that you're making a good meditation karma. Actually, how you live your life, the way, your attitude, how you practice. Actually, is not only that moment you sit on the cushion. You develop the habit. You make it into a habit, like just like become natural and just part of you, and that just bring it back. Just do the breathing in, unwholesome, or whatever thoughts or emotion, and breathing out peace. Then actually there is an imprint in your mind that when you say peace, breathing out peace. So actually, just brainwash yourself that you're making peace with that. Whatever feelings, you feel whatever emotion, or any negative thoughts, you make peace with that. Because we said right effort is not to get rid of it. The harder you try to get rid or stop yourself, from that thinking, actually you think more, isn't it? You find it more. But sometimes you use a bit of skillful means, So you just you just do the breathing exercise. You can do anywhere, the mindfulness of breathing, like you breathing in, unwholesome emotion, unwholesome thoughts, and breathing out peace. You embrace that. It's okay that I feel that way, and that takes our mind away. And then it's good that we make it a practice that every day we try to arouse and deliberately have a thoughts of loving kindness, and also reflecting on the good things you have done, all the generosities, and to arouse the energy. And the contemplation and reflection also, you can do it before your meditation. Before your meditation, you just sit down, you can do the reflection first, to bring up the happiness. So when your mind becomes happy, you are brighter, you have more energy, you are more energetic. And then that kind of energy, actually, they give you, they lead to peace. Then you have the joy and happiness, then you let go of the joy or because that kind of joy and happiness, so you have a little bit of excitement. So you let go of that, you go into the peace. But it's a more subtle happiness, more subtle joy, the joy of peace. So when your mind becomes peaceful, then you start to put your attention onto your meditation object like breath. And actually it's very easy. When you become peaceful, isn't it? Very easy to watch your breath. And you feel so nice and you feel so soothing. So even the breath itself, sometimes actually how we perceive our breath actually is come from our mind. When your mind is happy, your breath is different, isn't it? When we are agitated, irritated, how do you feel? You feel your breath is so tight, you feel that not soothing at all. You feel that kind of tightness is there, But when you're happy, the breathings, you feel so smooth, and you feel happy. You have the happiness, you feel lots of joy. So actually, you can do that before your meditation to bring up the joy, and so that you have more energy, be able to sustain. Because sometimes we've been worrying a lot and we thinking a lot in our daily life. Actually, it drains our lots of mental energy, use up lots of mental energy. So when you imagine whole day you've been having all the negative thoughts, and imagine if you sit down, you want to meditate, you think that it's easy to meditate. It's difficult, isn't it? You already drain all your energy, all your mental energy gone, already drained, because because negative thoughts leads to negative emotion, and they use up lots of mental energy. And all this is important in your daily life, and also it's helped you to establish and develop your mindfulness before you sit on meditation. So when you sit on meditation, your mind becomes peaceful and still easily. So when your stillness increase, when you go back to daily life, and you on your daily life practice, it's help you to strengthen your mindfulness. So they're both way, Yes, so mindfulness strengthen, and it's help to increase your stillness. Your mind become more and more still. And as your mind become more and more still, and you go back to your daily life, you become more and more aware, more alert. Your mind is really bright. And sometimes it's important. And some people think that, maybe, only if I have enough time, only if I have more time to sit and meditate, then I will get enlightened. But, if you are unable to restrain your thoughts, it's very difficult to restrain your speech and your action, isn't it? So like that needs mindfulness, like keeping precept, Actually, you need to have enough mindfulness in order to restrain yourself. Imagine if someone don't even have basic mindfulness, unable to restrain their thoughts, restrain their speech and action. That is a very basic mindfulness, isn't it? If we don't have that, how come we have mindfulness, the super duper mindfulness is the level of mindfulness is really strong. And we are in deep meditation, you need that kind of mindfulness that is very sharp, And of course, that's why we have to always look back, that investigate why, I feel tired, why I have no energy. Then sometimes, you have to investigate, or maybe during the day in my life that I'm thinking too much, worrying too much, and they drain lots of energy, and then maybe being too negative, then we can practice this in daily life, apply this in our daily life, to really, bring up, deliberately bring out the thoughts of loving kindness and reflecting on your own goodness, reflecting all the good things you have done, That's why Buddhists encourage us to practice generosity, to give, because they support your meditation, because meditation is only one part. Because novel power, you have other 7 factors. That's why it's important that you be able to restrain daily life, our speech, our thoughts, our action, and that actually helps us to develop our mindfulness, establish our mindfulness, because we are more aware that, okay, yes, this is not a good thing to say, and this is not a good thing to do, and the thoughts will lead me to the unwholesome emotion, and you're more aware of that in a daily life, and it's helped you to establish your mindfulness. And when you sit on your cushion, it's easier. It's not that some people try to use willpower, to try to make, will get you just, some people even use willpower, you can use willpower to focus, and even some people got nimitta, but they won't last long. Eventually you can't stay, because you use willpower, it won't stay. You have to come from that energy, that letting go, energy that because stopping our mind from using willpower or doing, stopping the mind from going into unwholesome state of mind. And it's not, when we said we put forth effort, it's not that we try to, not the effort not into doing, but into stopping the mind. Because sometimes it's very difficult for us not to do anything, isn't it? It's very easy to do something. Whenever there is any unwholesome or unpleasant feelings or whatever, we want to try to get rid of it. So don't try to get rid of it. You can't get rid of it. When you get rid of it, actually you reinforce that you're feeding it. So actually you have to letting go, actually you letting be. But that is quite difficult. That's why you have to restrain your mind from doing, from getting rid of things. You just let it be. That's why some of the skillful means that I've mentioned, you can do the breathing in and breathing out in a peace. Actually, whatever words you want to use, what more click to you, sometimes you feel that you prefer to use any words that really you feel more click, then you use that. But to me, I find it, because when I use peace, that actually it's an imprint and brainwash and telling your mind, try to program your mind that I'm making peace with these unwholesome thoughts, this is peace. I embrace it, it's okay, making peace with that moment. And this is how you develop and just strengthen your mind. And when you have more energy, then it's easier to sit. And you can do that contemplating, or you can contemplate, or you reflect, on the things that you have done, the good things that you have done before you sit. Then when your mind becomes peaceful, then you start to put your attention onto your breath. Okay? So we can start meditate now. Just choose a comfortable posture. Just relax. And bring your mind to this present moment. Appreciating this moment, the effort you have made to come here. To appreciate the effort. And just happy, just being here. If there's any unwholesome or agitation, irritations, whatever arises in this moment, it's just breathing in the agitation, irritation, whatever feelings that you're experiencing now, and breathing out peace. So breathing in whatever you experience that is unpleasant right now, and breathing out peace. We just embrace whatever unpleasant feelings, whatever experience that is unpleasant. Make peace with that. As your mind becomes peaceful, just put your attention onto your breath, your meditation object. From USA. Can you please talk about distinction between restraining and suppressing in meditation? Is this what Ajahn calls being control freak? How do we find wholesome balance? Okay. Then restraining and suppressing is that restraining, actually you're more aware that this is unwholesome, but suppressing is like you're not aware. Like it's become a habit. You do it like automatic pilot, Like sometimes like because of we are not aware and then out of habit that because of this we just don't like the feelings, we don't like that unpleasant feelings, and then we try to get rid of it, we try to push it, and then it's go away. Then slowly we develop that habit, and then whenever that comes up, we suppress. But restraining, actually you're more aware that this is unwholesome, till you have the awareness that you're not going to follow that unwholesome thoughts. That's why this is a different. Suppressing is that you are not knowing, like not aware of that. It's just mostly is out of habit. So once we know how we condition the mind. So when we develop, like the Buddha said, when we repeatedly, doing the same thing again and again, actually we harden into a habit, and it becomes quite ingrained. So that restraining, that because we be aware of that this is something that is unwholesome, that is leads us to unwholesome state of mind, then we restrain ourselves to follow that thoughts. That's why there's a difference between restraining and suppressing. Suppressing, actually, you are feeding it. When you suppress it, actually you are feeding that emotion, and next time become stronger and stronger and stronger. It's just like you push it away. But restraining, you're aware of it, and sometimes like you let it be, and it will subside. Or we don't pay attention to it. We know that we don't pay attention to it, and then we bring our mind back to. Sometimes that is the Buddha's talk about the unwise attention. So wise attention, you just don't place attention. You can use different type of skillful means to not to feed that. But when we suppress, actually like using willpower to push it away, and that is suppressing. And in fact, we are reinforce that emotion or whatever feelings or whatever thoughts, so we are feeding it actually. And next time when it pops up again, the intensity of the emotion become greater. It's just like we keep suppressing to a point that you cannot suppress anymore, and it's explode. Because we are putting in more energy, and it's build up more. You say, is this what Ajahn calls being a control freak? Yeah, we try to control. We try to not to allow that to come up. We suppress it. We try to control things. It's not like coming from the wisdom, and restraining itself. You have the awareness. How do we find wholesome balance? How actually this you have to develop those quality, that to sometimes, like one of the saying that you fake it until you make it. Sometimes you have to deliberately, develop the qualities, to bring that up, like sometimes whatever we eat, we think of other beings being contributing, and then whatever we do, then if we have done something good, that's why the Buddhists always encourage us that if you have done something good, you feel good about that, then you bring that up to reflect on that. or the good things you have done, and learn to appreciate yourself that, okay, this is something, that is wholesome, and is that I have done this, to appreciate that. And it takes time, because the Buddhas again and again mentioned that this is a gradual path. It's slowly, you have to drop by drop, little by little, to develop that qualities. And there's no shortcut. Is there a reading guide that helps you understand your various meditation experience that you feel comfortable recommending? No, I haven't had any reading guides that helps you to understand your various meditation experience that you feel comfortable recommending. I mean, yes, there is one, that is Ajahn Brahman is good, that is, we have that one, the basic meditation, that is very good. And other, I don't really know, but the one that I'm more familiar with, because some of the practice that I'm not familiar with is quite difficult, So, but there's Ajahn Brahm, that is a basic meditation. I think they can purchase online, isn't it? I'm not sure. Is it, can we purchase online? Anyone know? We can purchase online? No, because they want to have some reading guide. I think the basic meditation is a very good one. So I don't know whether, normally we give it for free distribution. So yeah, that's the one. Yes, any more questions or comments? Any more questions or comments? No? So we end up this session.